Every spring, you walk into a garden center and hand over your money for the same tomato seeds, the same pepper starts, the same lettuce packets you bought last year, and the year before that, and every single year for as long as you've been gardening. Then fall arrives, everything dies, and the cycle resets. You've been taught that this is how gardening works. Plant, harvest, die, repeat. Buy more seeds. That is not how nature works. That is how a business model works. The global seed industry generates $63 billion every year by selling you plants that are genetically programmed to die after one season. Let that number sit for a moment. $63 billion annually, built entirely on the fact that your garden doesn't survive winter. Today we're dismantling that system completely. Here's the biology they don't put on the seed packet. There are two fundamental categories of food plants: annuals and perennials. An annual completes its entire life cycle in one season. It germinates, grows, flowers, produces seed, and dies, all in 1 year. That's it. Done. Dead. The plant is biologically programmed to self-destruct after reproduction. A tomato plant doesn't die because winter killed it. It dies because its DNA told it to die. This is called monocarpic senescence. The plant literally shuts itself down after producing fruit. Every annual in your garden is running a suicide program. A perennial operates on completely different biology. It grows a root system designed to survive indefinitely. When winter comes, the top growth dies back, but the roots stay alive underground. They store energy in specialized structures called rhizomes, tubers, or crowns. When spring arrives, the plant doesn't need to start from a seed. It erupts from an established root system that's been building strength for years. Each year it comes back stronger, larger, and more productive than the year before. You plant it once. It feeds you for decades. Now here's where the economics get uncomfortable for the seed industry. An asparagus crown costs $3. You plant it once. It produces harvestable spears every spring for 20 to 30 years. That's a single $3 investment returning food for 3 decades. A packet of annual green bean seeds costs $4 and produces 1 harvest before dying. To get 30 years of green beans, you spend $120 in seeds alone. The asparagus outperforms it by a factor of 40. The math isn't even close, but asparagus is just the beginning. There are at least 10 perennial food crops that most gardeners have never heard of, because no seed company has any incentive to tell you about a plant you only buy once. Number 1. Walking onions. These are the most aggressive self-propagating food crop on the planet. They grow bulbils at the top of their stalks that literally fall over and plant themselves. The onion walks across your garden, creating new plants wherever it lands. You buy 1 bunch of walking onion sets for $5, and within 3 years, you have a permanent, self-expanding onion patch that never needs replanting, ever. Number 2. Jerusalem artichokes, also called sunchokes. These produce edible tubers underground like potatoes, but unlike potatoes, they're perennial. You plant them once and they multiply aggressively every year. A single $4 bag of tubers planted in spring will produce 10 to 15 pounds of food by fall. The next spring, every tuber fragment you missed will sprout a new plant. Within 2 years, you're harvesting more than a family can eat. Number 3. Rhubarb. A single rhubarb crown costs $6 and produces massive stalks for 15 to 20 years. Each mature plant yields 8 to 10 pounds of food per season. It requires 0 replanting, 0 seed purchases, and minimal maintenance. Just harvest and walk away. Number 4. Perennial kale. Most people don't know this exists. Varieties like Dobbinton's kale and tree collards live for 5 to 10 years, producing continuous leafy greens without ever going to seed. You take cuttings from one plant to create new plants for free. Infinite propagation at 0 cost. Number 5. Horseradish. Plant 1 root cutting for $3 and it will attempt to take over your entire property. A single plant produces 2 to 4 pounds of harvestable root per year. It's virtually indestructible. You cannot kill horseradish. Every fragment of root left in the soil grows a new plant. It's the cockroach of the vegetable world. Number 6. Berry bushes. Blueberries, raspberries, blackberries. A single blueberry bush costs $12 and produces fruit for 30 to 50 years. Raspberries spread through underground runners, creating new canes every year for free. One $8 raspberry plant becomes an entire hedgerow within 4 years without spending another cent. Number 7. Sorrel. A perennial leafy green with a sharp lemony flavor that grows like a weed. Seeds cost $2 and the plant self-seeds so aggressively that you'll never need to buy it again. It survives winter down to -30 degrees. Number 8. Egyptian walking onions and multiplier shallots. Similar to walking onions, these bulb-forming perennials divide underground and multiply without any intervention. Plant 10 shallots, harvest 40 the next year, replant 10, eat 30. Infinite loop. Number 9. Lovage. A perennial herb that tastes like celery but grows 6 feet tall and lives for 15 years. One $4 plant replaces buying celery at $3 per bunch, 50 weeks a year. Number 10. Comfrey. Not a direct food crop, but the most important plant in a perennial garden. Its deep taproots mine minerals from 10 feet underground and concentrate them in its leaves. You chop the leaves and drop them as mulch around your other perennials. Free fertilizer from a plant that regrows 4 to 5 times per season. It eliminates the need to buy commercial fertilizer entirely. That's another $50 to $100 per year the industry loses. Now let's do the math on the full system. You spend approximately $60 total on perennial starts, roots, and crowns. One time. That initial investment produces food continuously for 15 to 30 years, with 0 annual seed purchases, 0 replanting labor, and increasing yields every season as the root systems mature. Compare that to an annual garden where you spend $150 to $300 per year on seeds, starts, and fertilizer. Over 20 years, that's $3,000 to $6,000 spent on plants that are programmed to die every fall. The $0 fix is simple. Stop buying annuals. Start converting your garden to perennials one bed at a time. Every perennial you plant is a permanent food source that never needs to be repurchased. The seed industry's entire revenue model depends on the assumption that your food must die every year, and you must start over from scratch. But biology disagrees. Roots survive, rhizomes expand, runners spread, crowns strengthen. The plants do all the work. You just harvest. The real equation is this. Perennial roots plus time plus 0 annual input equals permanent food independence. That's not marketing. That's botany. Which plant in your garden is costing you money every year that a perennial could replace for free? Tell me in the comments.